Batman benefit from the leap to PS4 and Xbox One? And the bigger question, is this really more than Arkham City 2 with a car? Well, I'm Dan Dawkins for CVG, and I'm joined to discuss this topic with Leon Hurley from officialplaystationmagazine.co.uk, who saw the game just the other week. Leon, I'm interested in, because we talked about this off air, your first impressions when you first were shown the game.
Well, so they took us into like a nice little studio area where it's actually their mocap room, so cameras everywhere, sat us in the dark, and sort of the screen slowly kind of came up and you saw Batman resting on a ledge looking over city, all the lights twinkling, buildings, the detail looked incredible, and I thought, okay, they're taking the CGI route, they're going to set the mood with a nice CGI piece. Batman has a little chat with Commissioner Gordon, and he just sort of falls forward into the air and just glides off, and I look over and Sefton Hill is playing the game on a pad, and I was just like, are you f***ing me? Because I've been to see plenty of games, I've seen lots of kind of, here's our demo, and you kind of go, yeah, very pretty, nice particle effects, all this sort of thing, but I don't think I was prepared for how amazing it looked, and all I could do was just kind of swear at the screen. It was astonishing. Is there
a better looking next gen game so far in your eyes, and what kind of detail are we seeing we couldn't see before?
I don't think I've seen anything that looks as good. I think it is that kind of second wave really of next gen development, where it's not sort of held back by old engines or old kind of technology. The detail is incredible because it basically looks like, do you remember before Arkham City when you had those beautiful kind of CG trailers, and you had like Hugo Strange talking to the man in the chair, and you go in close on the face and the skin would be translucent, you'd have all that incredible detail. Those are the models in the game. When I saw it being played, he flew to meet Commissioner Gordon, lands, walks up to Gordon, and you can see the model there coming towards you, and then you have the cutscene with those models, and Gordon, he has creases in his face, there's like subsurface scattering, translucency, and that all looks incredible, and it almost loses part of the impact because the third person camera is a little too far away. When you're having a fight and rolling around with the goons, it looks like a Batman game, like a really pretty Batman game. When there's like a slow-mo combo where it pulls in really tightly to show off a move, you can see like sort of the carbon fibre weave in Batman's shoulder pads, and not just the weave, you can see it under a layer of varnish. You can sort of see the transparent varnish on the top of it.
Wow.
And this sort of detail's astonishing, but you only really get it when the camera pulls in close for like a sort of a hero shot of a punch or a throw.
Okay, for those who don't know, like structurally, how's the game set up and how much has it changed since Arkham City?
Well, it's essentially, but apart from the car, it's very similar in setting. It follows on from Arkham City, where there were clues about the Scarecrow and plans that he had in mind. So it starts with a large attack being threatened. The Scarecrow's threatening to let off like a fear bomb in the whole city. So the city's been evacuated, and you're meeting with Gordon to deal with this problem. The only major difference structurally is that you now have a Batmobile. So the streets are a little bit wider. When you're driving around, you have sort of car battles with goons in cars. It's very similar to Burnout Paradise, watching it play. It's very sort of sparky and explosive. The Batmobile is like the Tumbler from the Nolan films and smashes through just everything. It goes through concrete walls. The only thing it doesn't go through are big buildings, but otherwise it just smashes through everything, ramming other cars to the road. It has immobilizer missiles. Batman can eject from it and go straight into a glide, so they kind of are trying to convince you that it's worth using because you can use it to sort of fire yourself out in areas.
Does it create like a Grand Theft Auto style feel of you can get in the car at any time, go anywhere you want, big open streets?
Yes, I mean the way they sort of set it up was they had like a kind of an on-foot glidey bit, and they had a car bit, and it did feel a little bit like maybe they were separate, but they kind of implied that some areas will be too dangerous to go in and without the car, because the car has like a built-in taser system. It's indestructible. You can use it, like I say, the ejector system, to reach higher areas. So they tried to imply that the car and the Batman kind of mechanic are intertwined.
You talked about broadly the plot with Scarecrow coming back. You've also hinted to me off air there might be some bigger mystery at play.
Well, so they got the Arkham Knight, who is this new character. RockSteady have created this in conjunction with DC. So he looks like Batman without a cape, and he's got a full face mask, and he uses a gun. In the demo I saw, Batman heads to a certain area, and as he's about to do something, the Arkham Knight appears, knocks him to the floor, says in like a really gruff voice, this ends tonight. And then the screen goes black and there's a gunshot, and you last saw the Arkham Knight holding Batman down with a gun at his head. Now, there's a lot of stuff in Arkham City where you had Azrael, you had Hush, and they're all characters in the DC canon that are tied into essentially sort of replacement Batmen. So Azrael in Arkham City is the Michael, and I've gone blank on his second name now, but the version of Azrael in Arkham City was part of plan to re-engineer new Batmen in case they needed a spare.
Right. Of course.
As you do, yeah. And the secret they decided was that Batman was born of trauma, so they sort of basically traumatized these people that they thought would make good Batman. Essentially, Azrael is tied in with making replacement Batman. Hush, as you saw if you followed his missions through the end, he'd stolen Bruce Wayne's face and then escaped, and Batman couldn't do anything about it. He said, I'll deal with it later. So there's a lot of characters basically involved with Batman possibly not being Batman or Batman being replaced, and I think that possibly the Arkham Knight could be Bruce Wayne, and you will discover halfway through the game you're playing as an imposter. That's just my kind of theory, possibly.
Well, that's a nice theory. I'm interested in, like, a lot of people would have played the Origins Batman game, perhaps been slightly disappointed. I mean, again, that's a blanket statement. Do you think this does enough to answer the criticisms put at Origins, and like what new gameplay elements are we going to see here, really, apart from the Batmobile?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it, because they are two separate studios, and RockSteady, when they were presenting it, they were very adamant, that this concludes their Arkham trilogy. They were very sort of forceful on the fact this finishes their trilogy, and they basically didn't acknowledge Origins at all. At one point, somebody did ask them if we would see any more of the detective mode in Origins, because it expanded quite a lot on that in Montreal's version. And he just said they were very nice. I think that's all I can say on that, and laughed. And they really brushed off Origins and tried to almost not. They didn't pretend it didn't happen. They just didn't acknowledge it at all. They see this really as Arkham 3, and Origins sort of as a bit of a spin-off. What we saw, I think, I wasn't disappointed in. I thought it looked incredible. They've made some changes to the combat. You got the Batmobile. It looks like it's going to be, that Rocksteady quality of game. I was a little maybe disappointed that it was sort of Arkham City sort of 2.5. And maybe more to reveal. It does feel like they will tease things out, obviously, but it did feel like, they changed combat a bit. They'd added a couple of little bullet points to the back of the box, but it didn't feel like it was a massive kind of evolution or revolution. It was just a sort of a progression on from their previous game.
So we've seen nothing yet in terms of gameplay that's uniquely fresh, like it's just an evolved combat system.
The Batmobile, obviously, that does change things up a lot. They've done things like, so the grapnel boost is now grapnel boost Mark II, so that instead of just being able to launch yourself into the sky by holding X, if you mash the button, you can get more height, and you can also fire yourself 180. Batman's got new takedowns. He's got like a fear takedown, so he can take down 3 people at once if he's still unseen. You can now steal weapons and hold on to them. So there was a whole sequence where he steals a baseball bat and takes out everyone with a baseball bat. And there's gadgets while gliding. So they've made lots of changes, but it is that kind of iterative thing rather than like a massive, change.
So what really are Rocksteady doing with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that they previously couldn't achieve with Batman? What's the big breakthrough?
I think just the looks. The city is incredible. There's moments when the camera sort of pans across and there's lights and details and structures and girders. It's almost kind of visually overwhelming when you sort of look into the distance and realise that you can see everything, and there isn't any kind of level of detail trickery or any kind of draw distance issues. No, you can see lampposts and girders and structures on the other side of the city. And when you sort of suddenly realise how much of the city you can see, there's a moment where your eyes just go, no, can't do this, because you suddenly realise how much there is to take in. So visually, that is its strength. I think it looks absolutely astonishing, and I do wonder why they went with the CGI trailer route, because I don't think that trailer looked as good as the game itself.
Well, when is Batman out? When can we expect it?
It's not. They're just talking about 2014 at the moment, although there was a GameStop DLC pre-order advert that pinned it down to sort of autumn.
Okay, and when do you think we could expect to see more of the game, like more shared footage?
I think E3. I think they might show. I think E3 they'll show the demo they showed me, and then people will sort of see how incredible it looked. I should say as well, they demoed it on some kind of enormous, massive PC rig with a PS4 controller.
Okay.
So they're merging sort of what they're demoing it on at the moment.
Okay, well, if you've got any more questions about Batman, please leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the full preview of Batman, well, on officialplaystationmagazine.co.uk, and also on CVG, written by Andy Robinson, editor of CVG. If you like the video, please click the like button and do subscribe for more great PlayStation 4 and Xbox One videos every single day.